Welcome to Learning Spanish with Mr. A. So, what we are going to talk about now is the continuation of the simple present tense. You see, in the previous video, we talked about the ER verbs in the simple present tense in relation to the fact that, when you go through any verbs, they relate to a group, an infinitive. In English, where you say to speak, to eat, to live, it's a lot easier, right? But in Spanish, you're going to have to break them down in groups, okay? So the first group that we looked at earlier was the ER verbs. The second group that we're looking at now is the ER verb. And the cool thing is that in English, it's always TO as the basic form, as the infinitive of the verb. But here, we're looking at a second group of verbs in Spanish, which is going to be called the ER verbs, okay? And bear in mind that we are looking at the regular verbs, the regular ER verbs of the simple present tense. Now you're gonna say to me, but you got a lot more than just one verb. True, but all the regular verbs, in any given tense will follow the same pattern. That's why we call them, regular, right? So here what we have is the same approach that we have with the ER verbs, meaning that we're gonna have a set of endings that will match the infinitive. Given the fact that my verb ends with the ER verb, my infinitive is to eat as comer, right? Now I know that I'm going to apply those endings. So, what's happening here is very much the same thing. You take off the last two letters from the infinitive, just like this. Take off the ER. And then you replace them with the endings that match the subject. You got your singular, first, second, third. I, you, he, she. So I eat is going to be como. You eat is going to be comes. He or she eats is going to be ella come. You don't even have to use the subject pronoun here. Why? But look carefully. Every spelling is a different spelling. So that tells you from the get-go that, hey, that's my singular in the yo form. Why? Because this is it. That's my spelling with the O. Como. Get it? Alright, so next thing, of course, you have to understand that as you move down the line and you go for the plural, you're going to have different endings as well, just like you have for the ER verbs, right? Alright, so you're going to have hemos added on to the com from comer, dropping the ER, you end up with comemos. Alright, we eat, nosotros comemos, and you all eat, vosotros, vosotras coméis. You see? And of course, they eat is going to be either way, ellos, ellas, comen, right? So what's happening here, I don't know if you remember clearly what we had earlier with the ER verbs, we have es, a, amos, ais, and an. So they're virtually, technically speaking, they're all the same, the ER verbs and the ER verbs. You just replace, as you conjugate the verb, the A from the ER verb to the E. It's kind of the same thing. Now, just make it simple on yourself. Just look at it this way. Those are the endings that will match the ER verbs in the simple present tense, okay? Now, if I sit to you and ask you, conjugate to me the verb comer in the first plural, you need to know that it's going to be nosotros, nosotras, comemos. The first plural is we eat, okay? And remember that the tense here is the simple present tense, which always relates to a habit. You follow me on this? It's a bit twisted at first, you gotta get used to it. But here's the thing. We're gonna be relocating the action in time, on and on and on. We're gonna be talking in the simple present, progressive present, simple past, like preterite, I should say. The imperfect, okay? We're gonna be talking about the future, the near future action, the subjunctive present, subjunctive imperfect, you name it. And if you don't understand the basic rules, that you have here in terms of having the singular first, second, third, and having the plural first, second, and third, you're going to be struggling, okay? But crucial, very, very crucial, remember that in Spanish you have AL verbs, ER verbs, and IL verbs. They're different groups, but in English they translate as an infinitive, as if you just add the TO in the form of the verb, right? As you conjugate the verb in English, you go from to eat, I eat, first singular. Second singular, you eat. Third, he or she eats. Spanish, yo, I, como, right? To, you, comes, right? He, she, right? He, she eats, ella come. It's the same thing, but in a different language, but it works a bit differently, okay? See, in English here, you don't change the spellings until you get to the third singular, right? In Spanish, you change it all the way through, and given the fact that you got an ER verb, you've got to make sure that you add the proper endings, the appropriate endings that match that infinitive. You follow me? Just think about it and take notes as we go, okay? This is here. You can pause your little video and you can write it down in your notebook for your own documentation. I encourage you to do that, by the way. You know that, I told you that before. But if this is the first time watching me, your first time, well, just think about it, okay? It doesn't stay unless you practice every day, all right? So you have to have something to go back to, okay? So anyway, I want you to repeat after me. I eat is going to be yo, como. Right, yo, como. Right, you eat, singular, tú, comes. That's right. All right, he or she eats, ella come. Right. Now we eat one more time. Ella come. Right. We eat is going to be nosotros, nosotras comemos. Get that right. Nosotros, nosotras comemos. It's getting together. It's starting to take shape. You're getting there. All right. Congratulations. Good for you. All right. You eat. Don't cheat now. I want you to go for it. You have to practice. You eat, plural, more than one, is going to be vosotros, vosotras coméis. Follow me on this? Same thing, just different sound, different spelling. Why? Because you have a different infinitive, a different verb group. They are ER verbs, okay? Alright, same principle as what you had with the ER verb, with the previous video. Now watch. Ellos, ellas, comen. They eat. Ellos, ellas, comen. And also always bear in mind that what we're looking at here, even though it is a simple present tense, it is also a matter of understanding that you are dealing with the regular verbs, okay? You do have irregular verbs that will not follow the same endings. And each of those irregular verbs, you will have to memorize them. So if anybody ever told you that Spanish was easy, that's not true. It is actually pretty tough, okay? There's not such a thing as an easy language, although I would argue that English seems to be fairly easy. I mean, look at it, man. I mean, seriously. Singular, I eat. Same spelling. First singular. Second, you eat. Same spelling, right? Third, he or she eats. Oh, you add an S. Look what happens in Spanish. Como, comes, come. You have a different spelling for every different subject in the singular. So it's, you can argue here that it's actually more precise, okay? So hang in there, don't get discouraged here, you got this. If I learn this thing, you can learn it too, okay? We're gonna break it down, okay? And I think you will be more at peace as time goes by, but you must take notes and you must think about it in your head as well. It's one thing that you listen to me doing it, take notes and look back at what your notes tell you and understand what you got here. I mean, I don't know how to make it simpler than that, okay? I mean, I eat, yo como, okay? And you just go, your translation matches right here and understand as to why, you know, you've got what you got here. EL verbs, singular, first, second, third. EL verbs, plural, first, second, third. Got it? All right. Thank you so very much for watching this instructional video with Mr. A. I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video. Hasta luego!